everybody, welcome to Bones Collector. Today I have a beautiful two-player only game, which is really rare, to present to you, and that's called Foothills. Foothills is designed by Bet Bateson and Tony Boydell, and it is Snowdonia, the card game. I've never played Snowdonia, but I've watched it played a number of times, and I know I would really like it. I just haven't had the opportunity to pick it up or whatever, but and now I don't know if I will, because Foothills again is the card version, and it plays wonderfully. I really enjoy this game, and I want to tell you a little bit about how it's played, and then I'll tell you about something I really dislike about this game. But first of all, in this game, it's got a very unique action selection mechanism. Each player is going to have this thing here that you put your cards underneath, and every card that you have down here, all 5 of them, have an action on the front that you're going to make a selection. You're going to decide what you want to do: gather resources, or build a station, or lay down track, or go to an action space, and you have to use one of these cards to do that. And once you do use that particular action, you've made that selection, then you flip it over to the other side, and that has a different action on it, and that's the unique thing about this game. So every time you use one of these, you got to flip it back over like that, on your turn, and use the other side. And you can't go back to that other action that you selected the first time without doing this one, so that you can flip it back over and do that action again. So that's pretty cool. I really enjoyed that. It was fun to kind of weave that tapestry of action selection to make your thing happen, make your points happen, because the most points in this game wins, and that's what you're out to do, is score the most points. And you can do that in various ways. You can clear rubble off the track, which gets you some points. You're out to build stations like you see here on these cards, and lay down these track tokens. And those are the ways the things you're going to try to do to make points. You are absolutely going to try to gather resources, and this is called the stockyard. So you're going to draw resources out of this bag, and when you do that, you draw them and you put them on the stockyard thing here, and that's how you replenish that. And when you draw one of these white ones, you have an event. You take this and put it in this square hole in the stockyard, and when you have an event, so you're going to put out one of these navy tiles, and there's a certain way to put these navy tiles out, and basically what it does is stop you from going and building on those cards, and that's the end game timer. When you go to place a navy and there's no place to put them, that's one of the triggers. And then when you've built completely finished 5 railroad lines, once you put one of these buffers on the end of the line, if you have 5 of those, the game is over also. Now, what you're doing is trying to do different things, build different stations, and lay down track. And as you collect rubble, because you have to clear the rubble from the line in order to put the track down. So you're clearing the rubble, and you're getting points for doing that. The last person to take the last cube of rubble gets a point on these various lines. And then you're trying to build track and place stations, because every one of these cards has a scoring mechanism on it. In the upper left hand corner, this one gives you a point for every one of the train tickets that you collect. And I'm going to lay these back out here. I collected 4 or 5 train tickets, and you get points for those. And so that card gives you points for collecting these tickets. And then also you can get a point for every piece of track every 2 pieces of track that you lay. You can get a point for all any passengers that you have, every 2 passengers, I guess. And you can get a point for every card in your scoring stack. Now, as the game goes on, you're trying to weave together your strategy. You've asked yourself, okay, the most I've done, I've built stations, and I've built a lot of track, and I've gathered some tickets, so I want to get those cards that say I get points for that into my scoring stack. Or one of the actions on your action selection set of cards is to move your surveyor to an action space or the pub, and you have to go to the pub here in order to move an action card to your scoring pile. So you're going to take a card from your action selection cards here, the 5 of them, and remove it and put it over here in your scoring stack. So you want to make sure that the timing is right for that. As the game starts to wind down, you want to be able to do that. If you wait too late, it may happen that the game will end before you can move your cards, and that really would be horrible. And it can happen, but you want to make sure you're watching the game mechanisms to make sure that you get those cards, those scoring cards, over into your scoring stack before the end of the game. So as you're doing that, you have to kind of look at what you've been doing and the best way to maximize your points, what cards to get over there. Now, you have a set of cards up here, that replacement cards. Once you remove a card from your action selection row, you're going to remove it and put it over in your scoring stack, and then you'll take one of the same letter and replace that card. I think it has one of the same action on one side and then a different action on the other, because on these cards, every card in the upper right hand corner tells you what's on the other side, so you know what's going to happen, what action is going to be available to you when you flip it over. So just take a look at these cards up here and you get to select the one you want to replace the card that you had before. However, it may not have the same actions of the card you're getting rid of. Maybe you like the action that card has on it, so you want to milk it until the end of the game and time it just right so that you get that over into your scoring stack. You don't want to get rid of something that you think you want to keep using. And there's a lot of games that are like that, but this one's really like that. So you really got to watch that. And it's all about timing to getting those cards into the scoring stack and getting all these things built up. And this Porthmadog card over here has a couple of bonus tiles on it, 3 points apiece. You don't want to let your opponent get both of those, because that would be not good. That's 6 points, and in this game 6 points is a lot of points, because most of the time you're going to score 5 or 6 points for whatever these cards go into your scoring stack. So, and I would say your opponent is going to have pretty close score to your own score, so these bonus tiles are very, very important. I'm here to tell you, if you have an equal opponent playing this game with you, your scores are going to be within 1 or 2 points. So if you've got one of those bonus tiles, it may put you over the top. If you got both of them, you're going to win. I just feel that game is going to be like that. There's also a bonus tile here I see where it says take the summit chit, and I think it's 2 points, and I also own that, I think, in this game. But you have action spaces. Once you build your station houses on these cards, you have action spaces that you can go to, and it gives you various benefits where you can get resources or exchange resources, or like rubble. You can exchange your rubble for stone, and do various things by going to these action spaces. This is take 2 rubble, this is take 1 stone and a yellow ticket, this is take 2 rubble and a light blue ticket. So there's various things you can do in the game to help get that engine, that points engine going. And then right at the end, right when you don't need most of these actions anymore, you need to take the cards and get them into your scoring stack by going to the pub. And that's really all there is to this game. It's a very easy rule set, I think, but the strategy can be complex, because again, you're trying to do the best you can to score as many points as you can, which isn't going to be all that much. But you have to really, really think about how you're building rails and stations and what action spaces you're going to and so forth. So a lot of fun in this game. Now, the thing I really dislike about this game, I thought the Lookout Games dropped the ball, was in the production. I think the retail on this game was $34. And gosh, I mean, it's nothing more than a deck of cards, some cardboard chits, and some wooden cubes and a draw bag. That's really all that's in this game. I thought that was a pretty high price tag for what they're offering you. Not to mention this is your card holder. Really, it's just a card placement holder. It keeps your place for your action selection cards. And you play this game a lot, this is going to rip. I guarantee it's going to rip in two. This really should have been like a puzzle piece that you see in a lot of games where it's like a jigsaw puzzle where you put those 2 pieces together. So I didn't really care for that. And then on the top of this, when you're building stations, you keep track with this chit, and they have slots cut where that thing keeps going, and depending on how many stations you build is how many scoring cards you can put in your scoring stack. So if you only have 3 stations built, you're only going to be able to put 3 scoring cards in your scoring stack, and that's what that stands for. But the goofy thing about this is if you look at this chit, it sits here in these slots, and they put the station upside down on the chit. So that's kind of goofy. I thought that was pretty goofy. I can't believe they missed that. But yeah, that's what that's for. And you can bump this very easily. It's not a very good way to keep track of putting those station houses, how many station houses you have built. So we resolved that, and I'll tell you about that in a second. But I didn't like these things. I didn't like the way you keep track of building your station houses. You know, cardstock is fine because this isn't where you're going to shuffle the cards a bunch. So the cardstock is fine. The art is really nice. I really enjoy the art. It looks very good. So overall, it's just a few things I didn't like about it. And I did not like the fact that you use the tiles, the rail tiles and station house tiles. One side's a station house, the other side is railway. And when they're on the board, you really can't discern very easily between the two, and you're trying to just count how many station houses you got, and at a glance it's difficult. I didn't care for the way that mechanism worked, so we sent away and got these wooden buildings, and they were inexpensive. I think with shipping $12, and we got 10 of them for each player, so 10 blue, 10 green, and that's easy to take to count your station houses. Now, because I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 station houses left over, I must have 5 of them on the board. Very easy. She's got 4 left over. She must have 6 station houses on the board. Very easy to keep track of it that way, and it looks better rather than both of these chits being out there that look very similar to each other. I didn't like that. I thought they dropped the ball on the production. The production value isn't there. It's a wonderful game. Don't get me wrong, and I'm in love with it, and I'm keeping it for a number of reasons. You know, I love that it's 2-player. The game itself plays smoothly. I've never played Snowdonia, but hey, I'm in love with Foothills, and I just wish they had put a little more effort. I mean, this isn't Tasty Minstrel Games. If the Tasty Minstrel had done this game, it wouldn't look like this. I believe there's just some board game publishers that are better than others, and these guys got a ways to go. And this is the first player token, I guess. Yeah. Wow. It's this little train. Look how tiny that's the first player token. I mean, come on. No one's going to talk about the tremendous first player token in this game, and we put it in this little plastic thing. That doesn't come with the game, just so you could see it. I mean, I don't know. I don't know. Maybe I'm complaining too much. Anymore, the game board companies have stepped up their production, and you know, Stonemeyer Games and Tasty Minstrel, and you know, games nowadays are just, the production is very top notch. I just felt like this was stepping back in time a little bit, but. You know, again, we fixed it by going out and buying these wooden houses. That's something I thought they could have done very inexpensively and put it in the game, and then the game would have been a lot better. But hey, that's Foothills, and I really, really love it. For 2 players only. Man, that doesn't happen very often. We have very few 2-player only board games out there. I just love it when one comes out, and I love it even more when the game is spectacular, and that's Foothills by Ben Bateson and Tony Boydell. And I hope you enjoyed the video. I hope you go out and play this game, because again, I think you'll enjoy it. It's you know, twist your mind a little bit, give yourself an intellectual workout, and make sure you like and subscribe. I love every one of you, and keep on board gaming, because it's the best hobby on the planet. See you the next time on The Bonus Collector. Bye.